Hi guys, it's your girl Cosmic Jazz 222 and today I'm back with another video. This time it's on a transit, so it's going to be an astrology video. Jupiter and Gemini. We're going to be talking about the specific transit and I'm very excited and very intrigued. You guys will see soon. So if you are just coming across my channel, hi, my name is Jazz. I am a little psychic here on YouTube and I do a bunch of videos. I'm doing tarot readings, celebrity readings, astrological videos, and I talk about a variety of topics dealing with spirituality, conspiracy, and anything that's happening up in the stars. Okay guys, so as you can tell, I got my little demon slayer tanjiro earrings because I'm a little anime girly or whatever. Anyways, yeah, it just went with the theme today. So I want to talk about Jupiter in Gemini. Oh, just before we begin, some disclaimers. This is based on my own intuitive breakdown of the transits, okay, and my own predictions. You don't have to believe anything I have to say. Some things may not even resonate with you. That's totally fine. But if you're just intrigued and you want to know what to possibly expect for the next year, then, stay tuned. So I'm actually going to make this into two parts. So this video that you're watching right now is going to be focused on what we're experiencing collectively and what themes that are going to be brought up with Jupiter entering Gemini. The second video will actually be my breakdown on how each sign or where Jupiter is transiting in your chart is going to affect you, how it's going to affect you. So that's going to be the second video. So after this, you want to go watch that video. It's going to be up at the same time possibly. So yeah, you can do that. Might have a link somewhere, I don't know, we'll see, girl. Anyways, so Jupiter in Gemini enters Gemini. Okay, let me stop playing. Jupiter enters Gemini on May 25th 2024, and it will exit Gemini on June 9th 2025. So this is going to be a whole year thing. All right, so let's break down what this means. So when we take into consideration what Jupiter represents, Jupiter is the planet of luck, growth, expansion, spirituality, abundance, teaching, learning, and it's considered the guru technically. Gemini is a very dualistic sign, okay? As you know, Gemini, the twins, two sides of the same coin. Gemini represents the mind, represents how we communicate, how we express ourselves. Gemini is a very cerebral type of sign. It's all about how we use our intellect, how we use our voice, how we come up with ideas, how we socialize to a certain extent, okay? So when we take these two energies and form it into one, what we're going to see during this time as a base summary, we're going to see that this energy is going to encourage all of us to learn something new, to expand our mind in some way, and to obtain knowledge, to obtain some form of information that's going to feed us spiritually. So we're going to see this really play out, and we're going to see people really expand their horizons, expand their point of view, and expand their perspectives. This can even manifest of people finally being open to the other side of the argument, being open to someone with differing views, okay? So we might see just more of an openness in the collective overall. Now, when it comes to Jupiter, Jupiter does bring in blessings and abundance, and this will manifest in our mind. It will manifest in our ideas and our creativity and how we actually adapt and change to certain things, how versatile and multifaceted we each can be on an individual level. Now, I want to get into the predictions. So I do have my positive predictions, then I have my more negative predictions. And if you're noticing I'm constantly looking up and down, it's because I have my iPad here. I have a lot of notes. Yeah, your girl did some studying or whatever, okay? So starting off with the positive predictions, I do feel like since we are dealing with Gemini energy, we're going to see significant changes and progress in terms of how we communicate and the way we communicate. Now, this can be in our day-to-day interactions, but I'm specifically seeing improvements or enhancements in technology, specifically dealing with our phones, our tablets, our computers, how we email, how we send a message, how we FaceTime. I'm definitely seeing and I'm feeling that there's going to be some type of technological advancements with that. For example, I know this is like very, very petty or like very superficial, but you know how iPhone and Android, there's still some incompatibility when it comes to like how we exchange messages and how we FaceTime. I'm definitely saying during this transit, a manifestation or prediction that could come true is we're going to see more compatibility between different types of phones. We might see that, or we might see a new version of a phone or a new version of a tablet come into being. So, but you know, Apple be dropping different products like almost every day. So we might see Apple do more of that, or definitely do something that's going to completely change the game in terms of how we message people. So I'm definitely seeing messaging, communication becoming very effective, becoming very fast, very efficient, and very convenient. There's going to be a push towards conveniency in terms of communication. So this can be in terms of like wireless, becoming more wireless, Bluetooth, having non-touch devices, which we already sort of have already. One thing I was seeing in my mind's eye, I kept seeing like holograms. So maybe there could be some type of connection with that, having things holographic or whatever. I hope that's the word. I hope you get what I'm trying to say, but I'm getting something like that. I was also seeing something about higher network, so 5G. I kept seeing the letter 5, well, the number 5 and the letter G. I kept saying 5G. So there might be an expansion in the network. I was seeing in my mind's eye like a web spreading. Okay, so something about the network around the globe is going through some type of enhancements. I'm not sure if 6G is a thing, but there's something here about improvements in how we obtain access to like the web, information, news, again, how we are able to interact with each other technologically. Yeah. Okay. Now, this next this next point is a bit of a key to me because it's like it's so petty, but I feel like this is gonna happen. So you know how I kept seeing something about TikTok, right? When I say I kept like in my mind's eye, when I was looking at the transits and really meditating on this, I kept seeing something about TikTok. So the one thing about this is news and information is going to be very accessible during this time because we're dealing with Jupiter, which is expansion, abundance, and the Gemini is communication, information, knowledge. So we're going to see a lot of expansion in information we end up obtaining. So I do feel like there may be more, or maybe a new social media platform coming to rise during this transit. The reason why I'm bringing up TikTok, because I know there's this weird banning situation happening in the US. I would not be surprised if a company ends up creating another version, a different like a replacement for TikTok. Okay. I don't feel like it's the same company. It might be like a different company. We might be seeing a new social media platform that kind of mimics TikTok. And the reason why I say this, because think of Gemini. Gemini is dual. Gemini is two, double, twin. So we might be seeing something trying to replace platforms like TikTok, for example. If we're having issues with accessing that, we might be seeing, even if certain social media platforms are not as popular, we might be seeing something else replacing it, or maybe like a new version of it. So I'm definitely seeing advancements with that. Okay. Like I said before, people will be more open to ideas that differ from their own. So more people are going to be open to the opposite side, what the other person has to say, and just being more inclusive and open-minded in general. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of information being shared, and news is going to be spreading like wildfire. So it's going to be a lot harder for things to be secret. So yeah, a lot of things will be exposed during this time as well. But I'm going to talk about how that can be like a negative manifestation. Now, I actually feel like during this transit, not only are people going to want to learn more, or possibly go back to school or get their get some type of degree or some type of training or certification, I also feel like more people might be interested in getting involved in the educational system. I actually feel like there's going to be more teachers, more professors, more researchers wanting to teach other people their knowledge and really help people gain access to education. I'm also feeling like there might be more schools built during this time, schools in areas that don't have any educational system. So this could be in like rural areas or even countries considered third world. So granting access to education for the youth. And I'm saying this is somehow connected to Pluto and Aquarius, because Pluto in Aquarius represents the collective, changes, power being restored into the collective, and advancements in that. And Gemini represents learning, especially like the youth learning. So I definitely feel like there's going to be more of a push for the youth to be educated and receive an education, because that's knowledge is power, right? So there's that. Now, this next point is more on a local scale, I believe, but you might be noticing personally, you might be wanting to go outside and socialize more. I feel like more people are going to be out and about, especially during Gemini season. And I do feel like, since this is dealing with like the neighborhoods, I want to be surprised if, ooh, not my crown coming off. You know, let me take this off, girl. Okay, so as I was saying, I do feel like there's going to be possibly like more block parties, or people wanting to go out and socialize with other people and network. Again, I kept saying something about web, so people wanted to be connected to other people, networking, and definitely, you know, yeah, connecting. Okay. Oh my gosh, I feel bald with this, but okay, let me stop. You see how I'm like all over the place? That's how this transit might actually be manifesting, guys. So personally for me, I have Jupiter and Gemini. I'm going to get into that, guys. If you have Jupiter and Gemini, I'm going to get to y'all. But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to like the mind, our minds might be racing all over the place. We might be here one minute, then we're here, something else catches our eye. Like, it's going to be all over the place. So I'll get to that. Now, let's talk about, ooh, yes, let's get into the more negative predictions, okay? When I say negative, it's more of how this can manifest in an undesirable way, okay? So again, there's two sides to every story, right? So interesting enough, Jupiter is considered to be in its detriment in the sign of Gemini. And what I mean by that is Jupiter is considered to be at its weakest point. Why is that? So Jupiter is actually very strong in the sign of Sagittarius and Pisces because it rules over those signs. But Jupiter, if we think about it, is all about how we grow spiritually. It's all about seeking truth. It's all about being philosophical. It's all about understanding our moral compass, what's ethical, what's just. Jupiter, Sagittarius, and Pisces is all about, let's do the research. Let's dig deeper, because things are just not black and white. There is something deeper to this. But Gemini is like the complete opposite. Gemini is like, well, yes, I want knowledge, but I don't really care to do the research. It's very superficial. It's all about absorbing as much information as you can. Doesn't matter if the information is true or false. So when it comes to this, we might see propaganda being spread during this time. We might be seeing a lot of misinformation and people actually believing it, because people are not really wanting to do the research or wanting to figure out if there's more truth to something, right? So there's that. So what I would say about this, have discernment during this time. Definitely have discernment. Don't believe every single thing you see or hear. There's going to be a lot of shocking things being said, but the importance is, are you going to do the research? Are you going to dig deeper into this and figure out if what we're hearing at a base value, surface value, is really true or not? So there's that. Now, going back to the point of going all over the place mentally, Gemini, so when you think of Jupiter, let me just break this down. Jupiter, again, is all about, we are going to sit with this and we're going to dig deeper. Gemini is more like, oh, I have a short attention span. So when you combine all of this, again, people are going to be absorbing so much information to the point where it becomes overwhelming. It might become overwhelming with everything we're hearing. So one moment you might be over here, you might be really interested in this one thing. The next moment you're like, oh, no, let's go over here. So don't try to take on everything at once. Definitely take your time with this, especially if you have ideas. I would say write it down. Write down all your ideas, because the abundance and the blessings comes with your ideas, but it doesn't mean you have to do every single thing at once. So like I said, Gemini rules over the mind, but it also rules over your hands. I'm going to get into the biology behind this too. It rules over your hands. So translate your ideas into paper. Write it down. Okay, do that. That will be very helpful. And the lesson with that, okay, so again, don't overwhelm yourself with all these ideas, being too inspired. Like, don't take too many classes. Don't overwork yourself. Be very careful with that. The lesson here is you don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to agree with everything. Just take it one step at a time and have discernment. Okay? Manage and balance your life. That's what we're trying to say here. So, another possible negative manifestation of this energy of this transit is Jupiter, when it first enters Gemini, it's going to make an exact trine to Pluto and Aquarius. So I would say between May 25th to June, the beginning of June, we're going to possibly hear some very intense news coming out globally. And this is going to be pretty shocking, but it's going to be very transformative. Now, this could be in a good way. This could possibly in a bad way. We're not too sure how it's going to play out. But this is definitely dealing with the collective. So we're going to hear a lot of shocking things coming out. And again, be careful of propaganda. Be careful of believing something without doing the proper research. And I think it's dealing with the powers that be. I think it deals with like those in power, world powers, the elites possibly. We might be hearing something with that. Possibly a plan getting exposed. I don't know. We'll see. Now, additionally, Jupiter will be squaring Saturn twice during its transit into Gemini. So the first square is going to happen on August 19th. The second square is going to happen on December 24th. Now, remember how I stated there's going to be a lot of information coming out, possibly propaganda. While if you consider Saturn to the equation, Saturn's all about restrictions, we're going to see an attempt on censorship. Yep. We're going to see a lot of news outlets possibly, or like, again, the powers that be trying to censor certain information or news to come out. But I will say this, all they're doing is delaying the inevitable. We're all going to figure out what this is. We're all going to know what they're trying to hide, what's being hidden from the collective. We're going to know. It's going to happen. It's going to come out. But all they're doing is restricting it. And I'm seeing that with Saturn. So for example, I'm going to bring up TikTok again. The reason why there's a ban, or like there's this energy of people being against TikTok, or like the government being against TikTok, is because a lot of information that shouldn't be coming out is coming out on TikTok. So that's why this ban, this is what I believe technically. A lot of people believe it too, but the ban is happening, especially in the US, is because things are coming out. People are speaking, and TikTok is actually a source for many news for many people. But not everything is true. So again, have discernment with that. All right. But yeah, I keep like in my mind, I keep saying something about TikTok. So like, we'll see what happens with that. All right. So let me get into the biology. So Gemini, like I said, rules the hands, but Gemini also rules over our respiratory system. So this involves the lungs, the bronchi, the bronchioles, the alveoli, the alveolar sacs, the capillaries. Okay, so when we factor that, Gemini being ruled over, ruling over that specific body part and system, and then Jupiter represents expansion, abundance, right? We might be seeing something about respiratory diseases. I'm not too sure if we're going to see new strains coming out. As you know, we have the pandemic, like we're still fighting the pandemic technically, right? We might see another strain, technically. We might see another strain, or we might be seeing breakthroughs in research in terms of certain respiratory diseases. We might be seeing more research. We might be seeing some discoveries and possibly cures, because it's all about doing the research, more knowledge. So people are going to be more knowledgeable of how to fight certain diseases in terms of like the lungs, right? I'm also seeing, again, we're dealing with expansion, right? Abundance. Jupiter's abundance. Gemini's the lungs. I'm seeing something here about lung cancer, which is a very lethal form of cancer. Let me just put it that way. So lung cancers, tumors, and even blood clots. We might be seeing breakthrough research in regards to lung cancers, or possibly ways to prevent lung cancer. So I'm actually seeing even a lot of people stopping smoking. Like they're going to stop smoking, stop doing vape, or doing anything to contribute to like lung cancer or like damaging their lungs. So this can be like secondhand smoking technically too. Just be more aware of it and how to prevent it. I'm seeing that. So there's that. And the reason why I brought up smoking also, because this somehow connects to Saturn and Pisces when Jupiter does the square. Saturn deals with restrictions. Pisces can even rule over addiction. So I'm seeing like stopping, like preventing people from smoking. Not preventing, but like encouraging people not to smoke. I'm seeing something like that. Okay. So now, I don't want to make this video too long, but those are some predictions I'm seeing with this. So let's talk about my lovely fellow Jupiter and Gemini folks. Yes, guys, we will be having our Jupiter return. I'm so excited for this. So if you're wondering, Jazz, how do I know if I'm going to have a Jupiter return? So a Jupiter return occurs every 12 years. So the first one will be 12 years old, you'll have your first one. Second one is 23, 24, around that age. Then 36, 48 years old, 60, 72, 84, and then 96, because I know some people be living up to 96. Bless y'all, okay? Bless y'all for doing that. But during those ages, you will be having your Jupiter return. And if you're still not sure, like, girl, I don't know if that's going to happen, you can go onto astroseek.com and you can Google Jupiter return chart. It will literally like plug in your information, like your date of birth, your time of birth, your birth city, I believe. And yeah, I think that's all they're going to ask. And it's going to show you like a table. Maybe I might put something in here if I'm not too lazy, but it'll show you a table of when exactly you're going to have your Jupiter return, okay? And you'll see in your chart if you have Jupiter and Gemini. So be on the lookout for that. Now, when you have your Jupiter return, this is considered a very auspicious time of growth, of expansion, of you obtaining wisdom. And I would actually argue that your Jupiter return is the moment where you begin to ask the bigger questions, when you start to really mature. Saturn return is when you actually become an adult, and that's around 28, okay? 28, 29, 30. So during that time you have your Saturn return. Now that's an intense transit right there, because you're really forced to grow up. But Jupiter return is when you start to, dive into the realms of being more mature, being more adult, and really asking the big questions here. So Jupiter return basically challenges us to expand the limits of our mind and our thinking, and to help us look at all angles of a situation. So again, we're not just doing superficial things, we're asking like the deeper questions of life, and this is to help us grow spiritually. And I would actually say during the Jupiter return, you could be experiencing some form of a spiritual enlightenment. A lot of people could end up figuring out that, hey, I possibly want to convert to this religion, or maybe I want to deepen my faith in this. Like, and maybe I want to be a Christian, or maybe I want to deepen my connection with God, or maybe I want to convert to a different religion, or maybe I want to know more about spirituality and possibly like New Age if people are into that, right? Maybe I want to get more into astrology. Maybe I want to understand what Christ consciousness is. Like, there's things of that nature. So I do feel like those are some themes. If you're having a Jupiter return this year, that's what you're going to be experiencing. And you're going to feel like anything is possible. Like, it's a very positive time for you guys, right, who are having a Jupiter return. Now, additionally, Jupiter is spirituality, right? And if we think about love astrology, Jupiter represents not only the husband, but who your spiritual partner is, who is best suited for you spiritually, who's going to help you grow and expand, as that's what the spouse represents, or like a lifetime partner is supposed to represent, right? So during a Jupiter turn, you are more likely to possibly meet your soul family, your soul tribe, and even your soulmates. Yeah, you might be experiencing or meeting a very important soulmate during this time. I know personally, I have some friends who are getting married this year. They're going through their Jupiter return and they're getting married, or they're getting engaged, or they're becoming committed to a partner. So during this time, you might be experiencing that, especially if you're like in a relationship already and you're really happy with this person. You might just get engaged this year. You might be deepening your connection, possibly having a child if that's something you are called to do. You might be feeling that that coming, so yeah, that's some predictions I have for my Jupiter return folks. Let me know your experiences with that. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Now, some takeaways just to wrap everything up. How to really work with this energy. Have discernment. Have discernment. Write down all your ideas. And make sure you keep this in a journal. You can write on your phone if you want to. Brainstorm, 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 okay? Especially if you have some goals in mind. Communicate and network. Communicate and network. Put yourself out there. Don't be a hermit. Put yourself out there and get out and learn something. Learn something new. Learn a language. And since Gemini was the hands, maybe some of you guys might want to learn sign language. Like, I can see a rise of sign language, to be honest. Yeah, that might be another prediction. Get back to the basics. Keep things simple. Don't take on everything. Again, you might have a lot of interest, but do it one thing at a time. All right. Be lighthearted. Keep it fun. Keep it friendly. Keep it cute during this time, and have some good laughs. You know, have some humor. Don't take life too seriously, but don't be careless. Okay. So that is my this is my predictions and my thoughts about Jupiter and Gemini. I hope this resonated, or at least gave you guys some insight on how this energy is going to manifest. Now, I'm going to be having my second part posted after this. So if you really want to know how your sign is going to be impacted by this, or how this may impact your chart in some way, be on the lookout for the next video. Again, check my channel, most latest video, and you'll see that video will be up. All right, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.